Hello everybody, again. Now we are going to talk about road administration exam and what exercises you have to do there and what mistakes you can make on these exercises. It's very important to understand what you should do properly and how you have to do it. So here you see the picture of the road administration where all the exam starts, and you also can see on our YouTube channel some exam road videos, and then you will see how it works also in practice. I mean the rules and exercises, I explained it there, but here we'll explain. Here we are going to discuss it more, let's say, deep about this, exercises and rules. So first exercise that can be on the exam is U-turn, and it can be done in two different ways. So the first, on the left side, you can see the first option. So you reverse backwards to the left, and then you go right. So from here backwards and then right. This one for me seems kind of more difficult than the second one. Here you can go left. So you go left, then you reverse backwards and go straight. So your exercise finished. You basically used 3 points. In old times it was like this. You have to make 3 points for U-turn. You had to make. Now it's not limited. The only time limitation you have on the exercise, on these exercises, the only limitation you have is time, basically. So you can make as many maneuvers as you want. It can be 5, 7, 9, doesn't matter. But still you have time limitation. 10 minutes on 3 exercises. So totally we'll observe today 4 exercises, but only 3 of them can be on the exam. So try to remember, you have only time limitation, but still you can make as many maneuvers as you want. For example, during this U-turn exercise. So as I said, this one is more simple. Left, backwards, straight. Always show indicators during the exercises. First left, then right indicator, then left again. Right? So parking backwards with maneuver. What means with maneuver? They want you to make it, for example, in 45 degrees parking or 90 degrees parking. We already talked about this in the parking video. So you cannot just, you see parking in front, right? You enter parking area, see parking in front, and bots just park there. This one is not maneuver. This one is not maneuver. That's why they want you to see how you make maneuvers while you're parking, how you're reversing, for example. And that's why if you see parking slot in front, you still have to turn it like this and then reverse back, for example, or make it straight parking. Depends how he asks you to do that. For example, if you want to make straight parking like here, you still can use oncoming traffic a little bit for making a maneuver. You will take bigger radius and park. The same here. From the right side to the left you have more space usually, but you still also can make additional maneuver to the right and then go left. The more radius you have, the bigger radius you have, the easier for you to make this parking, right? So if you are very close to this parking slots and you just go directly to the right, you will definitely not be parallel. You will not park correctly. So that's why it's better to keep some radius and space to make it bigger. Like, for example, imagine you are a ship driver or something. So this is allowed. Now, reverse parking. As I said, you can make it in 2 maneuvers. It's still, these 2 different parkings still, they count like one exercise. Try to remember. It's not 2 different exercises. It's one. So U-turn is 1, then parking front, then parking backwards. It's second exercise commonly. So, as I said, you can make 45 degrees angle, like here, so you move like this, and park backwards, so you park with maneuver as well, right? And this one also, you park just casually, you have 90 degrees angle. Backwards, it also counts like a maneuver. And it's also allowed to do like this. So if he asks you to please park backwards with maneuver, try not to be confused. It still means that you just need to use angle, like 45 degrees or 90, any of this one. And of course, always indicators. During the exercises, backwards, straight parking doesn't matter. You always have to show the indicator in which way you park. Also, students usually confused about that, but still try to remember. If you park your car left like this, means you turn your wheel left, means you also have to show left indicator. Actually, very simple logic. Everything has to be left. You park left, steering wheel go left, indicator also go left. Very simple. Parallel parking is the third exercise that can be asked. So the same, you have to park properly between cars, or even if it's not cars, just in the free spot, not between cars, doesn't matter. Usually they give you a chance to choose. The spot you want, basically. They usually ask you to park in the way they want. For example, please make parallel parking now. So then it means you can choose any spot, right? It doesn't matter that you have to choose some exact spot, right? So it's important to remember. Sometimes they can even tell you, please choose any spot and any type of parking on this parking area. So usually people get confused how it's possible. And usually I get used to park how my teacher said to me. But here I have a possibility to make it like free, and in any spot and any way of parking. Yeah. So please try to choose as much as easier parking place you can see. Most possibly it will be straight parking, of course, not backwards. So do the straight parking in this case, and not between cars, for example, because it can be like more difficult for you, right? So try to choose it. Try to use these options. And fourth exercise, reversing backwards or straight, or reversing backwards and turning at the same time. So it can be parallel road, or this road can be a little bit turned left or right, doesn't matter. So you just have to follow the roadside or shoulder or a stone border. You cannot use oncoming traffic, you cannot use grass. They want you to use only asphalt, of course. The same thing on the U-turn exercise. Also, you can use only asphalt. You cannot use shoulder or roadside. You cannot use grass, definitely. And you cannot go to the oncoming traffic during this exercise. Yeah. So if you're reversing, you cannot go like this here. Then exam is failed immediately. And the same thing, they want also you to make it straight. If you make some zigzags like this, you're reversing like this, they can ask you to repeat. If you do second time the same, then exam is finished. So that's why it's very simple exercise, right? You have to, first of all, to park your car correctly in the beginning. Yeah, try to make it parallel with the road in the beginning, and then the only thing you just need, put reverse gear and just reverse straight backwards. Okay, if it's a turn, then you just follow the right mirror and a little bit follow the stone border in the mirror and turn with him together, basically. With it, I mean. So these 4 exercises we have, but only 3 of them can be on the exam. Usually it's like reverse parking for nowadays, reverse parking, then reversing backwards straight, and then U-turn. U-turn is mandatory. We always do that. So I hope with this you are clear now with the exercises they can ask you to do. What can and cannot be done while parking? So here we see on the picture 2 wrong parking. If it's red, means it's wrong. So car is standing on the line like this. or car is not within the parking box. For example, mirror is out of the line. Yeah, even if car is not standing on the line, but still mirror is out of the line, it's also a mistake. So car has to be within the box. Also try to remember that you have possibility to go out and out from the car on the exam. You can check how you parked, and he will be waiting for your final decision, for your final answer. So anyway, all the time you park, you can go out and check, see how you park. If it's not correct, you correct a little bit, then go back to the car. Go back to the car, correct it a little bit, and then check again, for example, just to make yourself sure. And then you can tell him, okay, I'm ready, and here he's going to check you finally this exercise. But after he checked, you cannot correct anything. So that's why you have this possibility to go out of the car. And as I already said, you have 10 minutes for free exercises. Yeah, so for example, if you did first 2 exercises for 2 minutes, means for the last exercise you can spend all these 8 minutes for parking, for example. It doesn't matter in which way you do that. So the same thing if you park your car like this. So your car is looking out of the stone border, or a little bit on the grass. You see the bumper. For example, this one is not real big mistake, but when like full car until the wheels is out of the stone border, it's a mistake, fail mistake, especially if it's on the grass. Yeah, for example, the owner of this grass always keep holding it, keep cutting it every day, and really likes his grass area, and you just park your car like this. So in this case, it's not good. That's why we have this rule that your car has to be within the parking spot until and of course you cannot cross the stone border even with the bumper. Even this can be considered like a mistake, but not fail mistake, but still small mistake, right? So try to follow this one as well. If you see yellow here, solid line, it means that it's not fail mistake, but still mistake. It will be considered in the end, in conclusion of the exam. Car parked here. Also, for example, on the left side is very correct. You can see that car is within the box. It's not looking out of the line. For example, like here you see, it's out of the line, out of the parking slot, out of the parking box. So mirror is looking out of the parking slot. You see it here. So this one will be fail on the exam. So that's why always correct that. The same thing, we also talked about that during the parking lesson, parking and standing lesson. If he asks you to park straight, parallel parking straight, you can cross only one parking line. Also, in this case, you cannot use a lot of parking lines and park somewhere there in the end near this bus, for example. So please don't forget that as well. Only one line can be crossed, and car has to be within the parking slot. If you park like this also, you're not within the parking slot, you cross the line, exam fail. This one is correct, this one is far. It means that your back part of the car is looking out of parking slot also. Means also can be considered like a small mistake, but depends on the examiner, so better not to try your luck in this case. The same thing happens if you go into the stone border and you have you just hit the stone border. If you hit or you go over it, exam is immediately failed, instantly failed for that. in that case. So I was talking with one examiner, and what exactly they mean about this hitting, right? So sometimes you can touch it slightly, right, very smoothly and gently. So one of the examiners told me that if you touch it gently and you feel it and you control it, in this case it will be not considered like a mistake. For example, here, right, seems he touched it like it was under driver control. But if he hit it like this on the high speed, like boom, like here or here, then definitely exam is failed. But still, I recommend to you even not to touch it. Try to make all the maneuvers. For example, U-turn. Usually this mistake happens on the U-turn, when people make U-turn between two stone borders on the narrow street during the first exercise. So try to control this distance between your car and, I mean, wheels and stone border. And as you remember, you can make a lot of maneuvers, so better to make more maneuvers than trying to fit in a very narrow street, right? So I hope you understand my idea. If we are outside of the build-up area, for example here, yeah, you can park on the shoulder. In the city, as you already remember, we talked about that during the parking lesson, you cannot park on the grass. You have to use edge of the road. And you cannot use shoulder as well. So you have to be only at the edge of the road. You see, we don't have 70 centimeters for pedestrians here. So only on the edge of the road, no grass. If you park or stand on the grass during the exercise, it's immediate fail. Immediate fail. On the highway outside of the build-up area, it's still allowed to use roadside, shoulder, but of course not allowed to use grass. But this standing or parking will be correct on the exam also. Second problem, usually sometimes it happens with the students, they park in some areas where it's not allowed. One my student parked, for example, on the place for the disabled people. It was very tricky. One student parked on the place. It's in Lagri, actually. Maybe you know that Lagri market near Rimi. There's two places for electric cars. In this case, you cannot also use these places. So exam was failed on this only. And here you see, for example, the way of parking. So you see that your car has to be parked straight to the stone border, but this car parked otherwise. So it's also failed. And here you understand sign, yeah, no parking, no standing. Sorry, no parking, no standing on the left and on the right of the sign. So means also fail in this case. Then so here, too far from the stone border, but still within the box, will be considered like a small mistake, but still not fail. But if your back part is still out of the parking slot, like here, you see, it will be fail. Here, you see, everything is correct. Car parked correctly within the parking slot. It's not looking out of the lines. Mirrors are within the lines, so car parked correctly. So this is okay. Here a small mistake because it's too far, but still within the box. Here car is out of the box. Exam failed on this. Also, these kind of places, it's not fail if you park like this, but still it will be considered like a mistake. Why? Because you choose too narrow spots. For example, if you have whole car or family, so they have to leave. They have to exit from the car, right? And they cannot even exit. Even examiner cannot exit. You see, here it's too narrow. Here it's too narrow. So it's kind of difficult. So try to choose, as I said, maximum 3 spots for that. But still, it's not a fail mistake in this case. So, what else can be considered small mistake? If you park, for example, on the place for family. Sometimes you can see, for example, Mustika Prisma or Maxima in Uisme 3X. You can see special parkings for families. Yeah, it also will be not fail, but still small mistake in this case. The same you see client for some, it's like cafe or something. You are not the client now, right? So you cannot use this spot. It will be considered like a small mistake, but still, I will recommend you not to even try your luck on this kind of places, right? So sometimes examiner can decide that you parked wrongly, so exam is failed. Like I told you before, the guy was parking on the electric car spot. So it's actually not prohibited somewhere in the traffic act. I didn't see that. But still exam was failed because examiner decided this, right? So try not to make him nervous and don't give him even a chance to fail you. So choose casual spot, park there properly like we just discussed. Here also side parking, it's a little bit, you see here a little bit out of the line, on the line. Here completely on the line, also fail in this case. Here it's correct, car parked correctly, so it's not fail. This one is fail. This will be considered like a small mistake, like we talked about that in the beginning. The same with the stone border. If you cross it a little bit, it's still small mistake, but if you cross it fully like here, then it's huge mistake and it's instant fail for you on the exam. So thank you for this, thank you for participating in our videos. Hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe on our channel, put likes, comments, and I will be glad to answer on your questions, and hope see you soon, and goodbye.